episode, we have a couple things to let you know about. One is that we have a ton of conventions coming up. They'll usually be under the Jordan Danae name if you're searching where to find us at conventions, but we have them all listed on our calendar, so you can check those out if you're a Comic-Con goer. And second of all, if you want to help us keep this podcast going, support the magazine, help us pay the contributors on our website, you can head to patreon.com/sartorialgeek. We have some pretty cool rewards over there that I'm really proud of. And we also have some special thank yous. So thank you to Rachel, Britta, Sonia, Anne, Darla, Laura, Michelle, and Kelly. We appreciate you so much, and if you want to join them, you can again head to patreon.com/sartorialgeek and check out our rewards. This week's episode is sponsored by LoganArch. LoganArch is the place to go if you're looking for geeky accessories that also feel a little bit nostalgic. So Pokemon fans, there's definitely something for you. They have pins, apparel, bags, stickers, office goods, basically everything you could want, and it's all well-designed and nerdy and reminds you of your childhood faves, which is something I absolutely love. To start shopping, you can head to LoganArchChicago.com or follow them online at LoganArchChicago. Hi, welcome to the Sartorial Geek Podcast. I'm Jordan Ellis of Jordan Danae, and I'm here with Chavon Coleman again. I'm so excited.
Yay, I'm glad to be back.
It's been a long time. We talked about Black Panther.
And that was 2 years ago?
Yeah, like a year and a half ago.
Oh, God. Wow.
That was like episode 3 or 4. So.
What episode are we on now?
70, maybe?
Okay, so there's been some growth.
Yeah. Well, and there's been some changes in Marvel, which is what we were planning on talking about today.
So many changes. Some for the better, some for the not so better.
Yeah. Marvel's been... Well, so one, you're a huge Marvel fan, so you, know about Marvel.
I try to. I try to keep up with what's going on, especially, in terms of the content they're producing as far as, TV shows, movies, and comics. Because I started with the comics and the animated series.
Yeah, when did you start getting into Marvel? When you were, little?
Yes, with the X-Men animated series because of my brother.
Yeah.
Every action figure, and I was just like, well, why don't we have these? And by we, I mean femmes. Why didn't I get a Gambit action figure?
Yep.
I had Barbies, which are also good, but, Gambit.
That's not always what you want.
No.
I mean, now there are Marvel Barbies, which is super cool.
Yes, it's also really hard to apparently get your hands on. Some of them, they're, mass-produced, and the other ones are limited edition, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
But I love it.
I decided I couldn't have any of them. I was like, I can't have any, or else I'll have all of them, and I don't need Barbies right now.
There's, one for every original 6, and now they're making some for the side characters, so you'd end up with, 200 Barbies.
And I don't have, I'm not even nannying anymore. I don't have kids to play with them. No, just buy them for my nieces, that's it.
No, that's valid. But yeah, so I love all things Marvel, and some of the decisions they're making as of late in terms of ownership of characters, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of not my favorite decisions, but...
Yeah, so, there are a couple interesting things. Well, there's a very, very current one, but even before that, with the Disney Plus, Netflix, the way all of the for me that was such a bummer because I loved the Netflix shows. I loved oh my god, I almost just said Deadpool.
Daredevil.
I was like, it starts with the same letter. What is it? I love Daredevil. I love Jessica Jones. I mean, I loved all of them, and then I felt like the most recent season of Daredevil, I didn't see a single ad for it. I turned on Netflix and I was like, what? There's a new season now? And then the same thing just happened with Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it feels because they were just like, oh, it's done. Our contract is over. We don't have to make effort anymore.
Yeah.
Which sucks as a consumer because you're just I still want to watch it. I still want to know what's going live.
I know. I still want a good ending for this.
Especially since they knew they knew it was happening. They were just like, okay, we're done. We don't care. You either will or you won't watch it, but you're still going to download and pay for Disney Plus. So we still get you.
Yeah.
Which is shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No.
Well, and what we were talking about before we started recording is like those, I mean, we obviously don't know what's going to happen, but those shows could come back just in a long time in a weird way.
Or they could be like superimposed into other shows. You'll see like Frank Castle in the background of somebody else's. So you're like, because everything takes place in New York. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Marvel 90% of the time is either in California.
Yeah.
Or New York, because those are the only two states that matter apparently. So it's
that is definitely how that works.
So you have 10 characters who are micromanaging the hell out of Manhattan, because it's Manhattan and sometimes Brooklyn, and they never run into each other. But you still have these characters we kind of can't use because they're kind of still attached to Netflix. But like in a year or two,
so wild.
They can pop up and you'll just see, like I said, you'll see Frank Castle walking in the background and you're like, that's definitely the Punisher. Is he coming back? Like, there are so many ways for them to tease that we still have these characters. We just can't talk about them. But
oh my gosh.
Like, I have feelings. The Punisher was my favorite of the Netflix series.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when they announced that they were like dissolving their contract with Netflix, I was just like, so what does that mean for the Punisher? They're like, no, you're still getting season 2 and 3. Like, it's still going to happen.
Is 3 still coming out?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about
like,
that. Yeah.
You're going to finish it. And I'm like, okay, but you're going to finish it how?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, where? Who do I need to pay?
Right.
like, I have Netflix now. I have Netflix. I have Hulu. You're going to make me pay for Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why do I have all these streaming sites when at the end of the day, everything I love is being taken from one to create another? So it's just like, it's weird.
I know.
And then, like, if you follow any behind-the-scenes stuff, like, if you follow directors and writers and the actors on social media, they, like, post things, and you're like, are you getting in shape for the characters?
Right.
Like, I don't care about all the other things you do. Like, I'm sure you're great.
Are you doing
but, like,
more superhero things,
like,
please?
are you going to be shooting again? And then you're just like, no, please come back.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, I feel like, yeah, so obviously Marvel's been around forever, but like with the MCU and all are the shows MCU? No, right?
So the shows take place, the Netflix shows take place in the same universe as the cinematic universe. So if you watched any of them, you saw like little snippets and
they talk about like
they talk about
the wars
like,
and
the
stuff.
Event, or like when Civil War happened, they talked about it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they talked about it in, like, when New York happened, they mentioned it in Luke Cage when you see the, like, dude handling, like, bootleg DVDs. But, so, like, they all mention the cinematic universe, but it's not reversed. So that's their way of keeping it separate. So if they never merge, we'll just be like, okay. But if they do, we're like, I saw it coming.
Right.
So, like, Marvel definitely is playing the long game of will we, won't we?
Okay.
It doesn't matter because you're still going to watch all of it, but you still have the, like, I'm going to invest myself in this particular series because it'll show up and it'll be relevant for this movie one day, hopefully.
They do a really good job of being like, you need to watch 100 hours of media. Plus, so, like, if you read the comics, not that everything always goes exactly, but you have insider knowledge, too. So someone told me about the most recent Spider-Man, and I won't, like, spoil it if no one has seen it, but someone was like, oh, one of these characters tends to play this type of character, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So, like, if you then read 80 years of comics, you have even more, like, insider.
So that's the thing I think is weird. We have, well, for at least the last couple of phases, we've had all this information based off of comics and any other content they've ever created. But moving forward, we have no information because from the last couple of movies, we saw that they deviated very far. Not so far that we're like, that's not that character's like personality for some movies. But now it's just like, I don't know where you're going. Which direction are you taking? Are these teams ever going to unite? Or like, do they all hate each other? Are we going to stay separate? Especially with the Disney Plus shows coming out. There's like 10 of them. I'm glad to see some of my favorite characters finally get the spotlight on them. but you're separating them in such a way where they never have to merge again. Like, we might never see... Like, obviously, the 06 are never coming back. We're never getting the original 6 Avengers, because some are dead.
Right.
And some are about to die, because they're senior citizens.
Some are not fighting anymore.
Which is, like, fine, totally valid, but there are, like, offshoot groups that develop from that we might not get, because you're just like, these people aren't friends. They were coworkers at best.
Yeah.
And it's like, in the comics, they were, like, super big on family and these types of relationships that you're like, I can totally see so-and-so dying for this character. Now it's like, I don't know you. Like, we're not friends.
Yeah, we've never interacted before.
So every comic book reader out there probably is like, freak, I just know this character's name. I just know their, like, base power. I don't know anything else about them, because Marvel Cinematic Universe is fan fiction for the comics at this point.
Yeah.
It is so very different, and it can go literally any way. So I got nothing for the next few phases.
Yeah, are there already, like, fan theories that... Wait, so Phase 4 just ended, right? Are people guessing what Phase 5 is? Or is everyone just like, literally, we have no idea?
So...
Because they announced some of the movies that are coming out.
So they came out with all of their, like, titles. So we know whose shows we're getting, we know whose movies we're getting, but of course the plot could go in any 6,000 different directions, and the titles don't really tell you much. Like, Love and Thunder, can't wait for that. And, like, the little snippet they gave us and how it's going to be, like, an action love story. It'll have, like... Jane Foster Thor, which I'm totally here for, but are we just using the character, or are we using her storyline? Because her storyline is very different from what we've seen so far.
Right, so, like, you don't know if they're going to find a way to twist that into, like, what we have so far, or if it's just going to be this character doing, like, a different thing.
Anything. So, so I'm excited to see how they're going to do that. I'm super excited that it's Taika, because... His Thor,
Taika, I love him.
Yes, his Thor adaptation is my favorite thus far. Like, of all the other Thor movies, some of which we like to pretend didn't happen, his was the best in terms of, like, characterization, Thor not being dependent on a hammer, because what was the point of being the God of Thunder if you're like, you can't do anything without this hammer. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it. I can't wait to see how it's going to play out. I'm happy that Natalie Portman is coming back. That
it felt like she did not get any kind of sense, which she didn't. Yeah. So it's good that she'll get something more than just like, and we broke up or whatever. That's the end of this character.
They didn't even actually be like, yeah, they broke up, or like, they were just like, we're just not going to talk about it. And then I'm sure that's because Marvel were like, we could maybe get you to come back, because maybe we're going to do this thing and we want to keep you in the back burner.
It's so weird when you think about decisions they're making from that perspective, when you're like, is this I mean, it's all strategic, I guess, at the end of the day. Like,
very much so. So it's obviously there's some head honcho that's sitting there like, I want these actors underneath me. I want to play out this way. And it all comes back down to money. Like, which one of these things is going to make us money? Can we get merch out of this? Can we get appearances? Understandably so. Like, I get it. We live in a very capitalistic world. But, like, don't forget that you have these... You're still dealing with regular people's lives. Like, they're just regular people who happen to speak on screen for 2 to 3 hours at a time. Yeah. So they'll have people like Natalie Portman come in and be awesome as Jane Foster, and you're like, yes, science, hell yeah.
Right.
Smart woman.
You're doing great. We love you.
But then we're like, and you're gone. We don't say why you left. Or, like, if you look at things behind the scenes, you know, like contract issues, or like people just not meshing for personalities, but you don't, like, if you don't care about that, you're not going to look it up. But you're just like, and she disappeared.
And then the movie doesn't, let you know that.
And then Thor has this awkward conversation in which he kind of broke up, but they're not, but he broke up with her, but like,
no, but he's sad, but isn't, or something.
And we're like, anyway, that never happened. And to see her come out, it was the highlight of me watching the SCCC playback. Because it was just like, yay, you didn't dissolve that relationship. Yay, we're getting Jane Foster Thor. But which? Are we just going to have, like I said, are we just going to have powers? Yep. Are we actually going to follow her storyline? So if you've read the comics, you know that storyline has some ups and downs. It has, like, tearjerker moments. And then, like, where does the Valkyrie play in? Because Tessa Thompson is also coming back.
Do they? I've read half of the first volume of Mighty Thor. I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
But this, like, if it's a spoiler or whatever, don't. But does Mighty Thor and Valkyrie hang out in the comics? Is it a spoiler?
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, the comic's been out for a while.
Yeah.
We're just not going to talk about
That's
that.
fine. Okay, cool. Because sometimes it's like you can say something and it's not like a plot point, and sometimes it's like, oh, that is a huge deal. So,
like, and just read it. Yay!
Yeah, cool. Everyone, go read Mighty Thor, and we'll talk about it online.
It is going to be the best thing ever, and like we can have a whole conversation when this episode drops in the comments, because hopefully by then you will have read it.
I will.
But like, I'm excited to see how these characters are going to interact, because at the end of the day, they are still strong women. Like, I love Tessa.
Yeah.
I like Natalie Portman. She's an amazing actress. So I'm just excited to see them come together and like have a conversation on the screen. Because with the MCU, you have the chance for literally every character you've ever seen in the comics potentially interact. Some of them really don't, which is kind of sad, because you're like, I would love to see.
I want to see them hang out.
Yeah. Like, I literally just want to see the people that I've been reading about since I was 10 hang out on the screen.
Yeah.
And fight villains. That's all I want. That's what movies are. We literally just... You think about it.
And the MCU has been really good at that so far in a lot of ways, where it's like, I never thought I would see this character and this character hang out. Do we know, is Thor like with the Guardians now?
It ended that way.
Cool.
But
I guess we'll find out at the beginning
because comics tell me nothing. I know
right.
I'm literally starting at 0, so I could read all the comics.
We're like going into movies the same, because that was really funny for the first couple phases of the MCU, because I barely know the comics. Like, I've read patches of comics, so like I would go into a movie and be like, this is all new, with people who are like, I mean, it's not.
It's new-ish, because you never know what they're going to take from it. So like I said, we generally have a base storyline, but like for Thanos, the Thanos I grew up with was Thanos being in love with Death, because Death was personified as a woman.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So I was happy. I was like, yes, Thanos is one of all my favorite villains are murderers. So Thanos is one of my favorites, because his was just like, I'm in love with Death so much that the best gift that I can give her is to literally decimate planets. And I'm like,
so
okay,
wild.
Maybe don't. Because
that's
we don't
bad
have to do that.
But I get where you're coming from, I guess.
So when they flipped it in the movie, I was just like, okay. So I only know that his name is Thanos and he's purple. And he has a gauntlet. Thanks. I know nothing.
That's all that I know.
And then like the direction it took, I was like, okay, this is kind of wild. You definitely could have expanded the universe by 50%, but you wouldn't be a villain. I get it.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
That's not
that's just like sort of the happy ending.
So like, even going in with comic book knowledge, it didn't matter, because they would be like, we're going to take this and do something just slightly to the left. And I wonder
if they do that on purpose a little bit too, so that it's like fun.
Yeah, because it's still new.
You don't just know what's going to happen.
Yes, it's still new for people who have been invested in comics for the last however many years they got into it. Yeah. So that's nice. I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate them still sticking at least somewhat to the original source material as far as like the heroes. Like,
because it seems like like you were saying, like I think they've gotten some characters more like on the nose than others, but it seems like the characters are generally who they're supposed to be. Yeah. Like, it's not a lot of times where you're like, who is this? Like, that's the right costume, but like, that's the wrong personality. Yeah.
The name is wrong. Is this? Yeah. They're not from that borough.
Right. Yeah, no, they get that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and then, like, I'm glad to see them take villains and kind of flip them on their head. They're still villains, but like, instead of taking you did something to me, it hurt my feelings, and now I'm going to blow up the planet, they are trying to give them more of a story that you can kind of empathize with. Yeah. Maybe you won't, because you're not the type of person who does that. But like, they are trying to make you believe that the reasoning behind that villain could be believable if this happened to you.
I think you need that for movies too, because there's only, how many MCU movies have there been? More than 20, right?
23.
23? So like, you can't have a monster of the week for 23 movies. Like, that's not fun. And so that's good.
Kind of boring, so.
Oh, imagine there's going to be a bad guy and he'll be bad. And then we'll fight them.
And that's it. We just don't care they're a villain. We don't need to know why they're a villain. So I do appreciate the, like, trying to see the other side. And they definitely did that with the most recent Spider-Man. Because they try to make it seem like Tony Stark is the villain for this movie, even though he is. I hope you have seen Endgame by now, even though he's dead. Like, this is still somehow his fault. Obviously, it's not. Like, if you made it this far into the movies, you know that particular character is actually most definitely the villain, especially if you stay for all the end credits. So it's like, they are giving you more background, which I appreciate. I love character building, and a lot of TV shows don't always get it right. A lot of movies don't always get it right. And they're just like, this person is a villain, deal with it. You don't need to know their backstory. And then 6 years later, we get a spinoff. And we're like, hey, this is why they're a villain. Like, Marvel is just giving you all of that in the 2 to 3 hours you have. So you either empathize or you don't. But at least you have some idea on how we got here. So it's like, I'm excited to see where they're going to go.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
It is a lot.
We got like
San Diego. So I was at San Diego, not at the panel because I never get into like the big panels. I was actually
hell.
I was at an Adventure Zone live show, and my phone, I had it off because I was at the show, and then I turned it on, and the whole internet was like, Marvel just announced literally everything. Yeah, because it was all the Disney Plus shows, right?
Yeah, so it's all the Disney Plus shows and their direction for the movies for like the next 4 years. Yeah. Because we're getting like 2 shows next year and a movie, because Black Widow comes out. They already started filming
right. That's the next movie, right?
Yeah.
Black Widow. Okay.
It is a prequel because she did. So we're getting 3 things from them next year. Disney Plus also drops this year, and I'm sure it's going to have like every Marvel thing to date, so you could catch up before next year. And in 2021, which is trippy to say, we're getting like 4 movies back to back. So it's and all the shows, which they announced like 10. Don't quote me on that, but they announced a lot of shows. Yeah. So it's like, if you have a life, I don't know where you're going to find the time to actually watch everything, especially if you're the person who like goes to the marathons that your local movie theater has, where you get to watch all 48 hours.
So many hours.
It's probably more than that because there are 23 of them, and they're all at least 2.5 hours long. So it's like, if you're that person, you cannot have a life and be invested in the Marvel fandom, because you will stay up for like a week.
Forever.
The last marathon they did spanned 3 days. And I'm not saying in the movie theater for 3 days, because I believe in taking showers every day.
I marathoned the Star Wars movies before Episode 7 came out, and even that took a whole day, and I was like, that's enough. And that was 6.
Yeah.
That's so much less.
And fandoms that have like side things to do, like Star Wars and Marvel both do that, where they have the movies, and then they have shows, and then they have Star Wars is the only one I know that actually all of their stuff is tying in. So they're like their books, their animated series, and their movies tie in. Marvel is a little bit worse or better for that, because then you don't have to sit there and watch everything, which is great. But like still, they have all these movies, and if we're getting these shows, they are going to tie back in, because the Loki series is happening because of Endgame, and if you saw Endgame, then you know why that is happening. Yeah. So Loki's back.
Have they announced... So I saw all the titles. Like, we know what the shows are. Have they announced, like, more about what the show... Or are people just sort of guessing?
So they've been, like, dropping a little plot points, like, from Marvel and Disney. So Loki's... Tom Hiddleston said it's going to be 6 episodes or 6 hours long, and it is going to be him jumping in and out through time.
Cool.
I hope you know why that's happening.
Yeah.
And I guess eventually he'll end up in our timeline, universe, whatever.
Cool.
And then he'll run into everybody all over again, and we'll be like, Loki, oh my god, you're back. And then, of course, we have watched how he was able to get back. Cool. But for them, it'll be a surprise. So he might appear in Love and Thunder. Who knows?
Wild, yeah.
So it's like, if you are that person who's like, I need to see every bit of content to make that story make sense, I'm sorry.
I know, it's gonna be a lot.
It's gonna be amazing. So it's just like, I do appreciate the fact that they give you so much content. It's just, can be overwhelming sometimes, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then they do still do movie tie-ins for books and comics. So they do it after the fact, whereas... Like, if you've been reading comics, you know that the movies are based off of some of it. So now they're doing, like, little tiny book tie-ins, which are great. So they did one for Endgame and Infinity War, so it like talks about Thanos and
this version of MCU version of Thanos.
Yeah,
cool.
So they are doing that, and I can't tell if this is something they're going to continue because then
listen, man, if it makes money, I bet.
Like books are great. Definitely go out and read them. Support your libraries. Support your bookstores. It's still a lot.
Yeah,
like, a lot. Movie tickets are like $17. Mm-hmm. If you want to see them 3D, that's like $30. Mm-hmm. And then like now you gotta buy the book, and now you gotta go and pay for a subscription. It's just Marvel and Disney definitely knew how to diversify to get every one of my dollars.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving them all of my dollars. That's what I do. Yeah. Like, as much as I know it's crazy to sit here and invest like so much time and money, I still want to because it is something I grew up loving and I still love till today.
And they're smart too, because even if you're not fully bought into all of the MCU, they're still gonna get a lot of your money. Like, even if you're like, I'm only into like Captain America's, story, or even if you're only into Thor, that's still so much stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah. So, Phase 4 specifically.
Is that the one that just ended or the one that's starting?
It's the one that's coming up.
Okay.
We're getting Doctor Strange 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. We're getting the Eternals. If you don't know about them, this is the perfect time to go read about them. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because all my knowledge might be irrelevant.
Right.
The Eternals are generally a set group of people, but the storyline they could take could have more to do with the last couple of movies, which it should. But then they could be like, we're just using the characters and their relationship to the other characters and nothing else.
Yeah. Cool.
We're getting, in Doctor Strange, it's supposed to be a tie-in with the Scarlet Witch.
It's also going to be like a horror movie, right? So that's like literally everything you love together.
Wait, I love horror. I love post-apocalyptic everything.
Yeah.
Like, give it to me. That's also why I kind of like Endgame. I do wish we had talked more about like people living
like that 5 year.
Yeah, like that's a long ass time to be like, we're not going to talk about it. Everything probably collapsed.
Yeah.
Like, because we don't know who got. So, like, did your government collapse? Most definitely.
Yeah.
Technology, is that why it was stagnant? Like, there were whales just hopping on by. And, like, music, like, they're just... Like, so if they do a tie-in show, can we give me, like, 4 episodes?
Of just that.
Regular people living in those 5 years. And, like, everybody can have their cameo. You see, like, Tony Stark making his announcement that he's removing himself from the public. Like, there are ways to tie in the characters, so you can even see them come back. But, like, to know that we're getting a true horror movie with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, like, they're 2 very powerful characters whose powers are, like, terrifying if ever gone wrong. And we're getting, and that's supposed to be, like, I guess the true introduction to the multiverse. Because,
that makes sense.
Which would make a great horror movie because we assume that this verse is bad. Mm-hmm. But wait, maybe all of your favorite superheroes are actually villains, and like they could flip it, and then they're fighting each other, or like Thanos never got fixed, and people all went crazy, and we like devolved as humans. Like there are so many ways they could take it, and I can't wait to see.
Oh my god!
And my favorite thing they announced was. Actually, probably won't happen for like another 3 years with Blade, and that's for Phase 5.
Yeah.
So I gotta sit through.
Oh, that's far from now. It's Phase 5.
Like, the way movies are done, we all know it takes like 1.5 years, but they seem to be getting shorter. We're producing things at a much quicker rate. But like, I can't.
Probably because they have all the money. It's like, what do you need? It'll happen in 2 days.
Hey, I just need you to work for 3 weeks instead of 6 months. Like movies are being spat out very quickly. Yeah, and I appreciate that. But Blade, which is one of my favorite characters. All of my favorite characters are murder characters. But Blade, in my eyes, helped jumpstart the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The original Blade movies are not actually included in it. It does still start with Iron Man. But if you know who Blade is, you watched those Wesley Snipes movies, no matter how good or bad you think they were, you sat through all 3. Yeah. So to know that it's coming back with an amazing actor, I don't know what direction they're going to go in. Like, are they going to introduce a villain? Are we going to start with his origin story? Or are we going to just, like, have him start in another movie the same way we did it for Spider-Man? Like, there's so many ways that can go. But also, Blade is a character that, in my head, doesn't mesh with any character ever in the Marvel comics.
Right.
Like, he just doesn't.
Does his own thing.
And that's fine. I love him for it. So I'm very confused as to like where he's going to end up. If they're just going to be like, Blade is just going to be hanging out with the vampires and slaughtering everybody, and we're just never going to mention any of the other movies. Because I would come out as a character and be like, where were y'all while I was fighting vampires?
Right.
Like, screw space. Have you gone into the New York City tunnel?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way that his world never meshed, and maybe it's actually in another universe and it's not in the same one as this one. But it's just weird that we never like, hey, supernatural creatures like space whales.
Yeah, because that doesn't really.
They're like, we went up instead of going down. But he's very much in New York City.
Yeah,
just like they all are, and we just never see vampires. Vampires just never attack. So I'm just curious as to where that's gonna go.
Yeah, because there aren't, right, in the MCU so far. There's like alien, outer space creatures, but there aren't.
We do elves, we do space elves, we do space whales. We don't talk about
powers, but there aren't.
There's no regular. Now this just came from Earth.
Right,
this is our issue.
Yeah,
this is our fault. They're like the regular people in your office. They're the lawyers. Like, and that's what Blade was in the original movies, where it's just like, nah, this is definitely not like a up there issue. This is he owns a major corporation and they own the blood banks and like random things. So I'm curious, very, very curious as to how that's going to play out, or if we're going to do the alternate dimension thing and just be like,
that's going to be a
alternate New York
total game changer if everything is just like,
nah, it's all here. We got it all. We have gods and vampires.
And I feel like the multiverse, I mean, again, I don't even know that much, but I feel like that, because that's how comics last for so long, right? Is they do something that's like an event and then you can sort of start over. Because it seems like they're going to try to make these movies literally forever. So they're going to need ways to like do it.
Talking about back in my day, Captain America.
When we only had 23 movies.
It was only the original 6 Avengers. I don't know about all these other Avengers.
Yeah, totally.
Like, that's probably going to be me. Like, but that's what you do in comics. You revamp it. You have somebody build something and it knocks over something else and bam, there's a portal. You go through the portal and it's not this Earth, it's Earth. Let's add some numbers and letters.
It seems really smart of them to set that up for this.
They are set for life because they can literally keep growing. We still don't know what Earth MCU is supposed to be.
Right.
So they've never given a name to it. And like they do drop a hint for in Spider-Man, but it's not that. So it doesn't matter. So we're still like, what Earth is this?
Yeah.
If you read the comics, then you can probably guess which one it isn't. But they could, once again, not have anything to do with the comics and just start adding...
do their own universes forever.
This is Earth 2064, whatever. Like, you'll never know and what that is in relation to the comics, because they could have nothing to do with the same names. So you're thinking...
Oh, man, that's so crazy, too.
Yes, that's how they're going to get us.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, we created a new Earth that has nothing to do with the comics, and obviously it's going to be the MCU Earth, but you don't know what Earth the next movies and TV shows in. I hate this.
Right.
I feel like that meme where he's like drawing the maps in the room. You're trying to explain this to your like, this is me. Yeah. This is me trying to explain this to my nephew who's like all of 13, and he's like, Auntie, like what is this from? And I'm like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I can't answer your questions anymore.
He was like, but you read the comics, and I was like, and none of it
matters. It doesn't help.
Like, it's just me surrounded by all my books. And be like, none of this matters anymore. Like I said, I love the fact that they do this because it gives us so much content. We get books, we get TV shows, we get, like, they could even do a web series for all I know. And I would sit there in front of the computer and still watch it all. Yeah. But it is limitless. Like, they could keep making things and we will keep consuming it.
Yeah. I like that a lot more, too, than, like, just rebooting stuff for no reason. Like, because when I grew up, I pretty much only watched movies. Like, that was the only superhero thing I knew. So it was like, you know, there's a Spider-Man, and then there's a new Spider-Man, and then there's a new Spider-Man, and there's a Batman, and then there's a new Batman. Like, I like that there's at least a reason, or like a way that it isn't just like, forget that guy.
Because we're definitely going to get each one of the original characters, but it's not a reboot, like you said. It is a continuation of their legacy. So somebody else picking up the bow and arrow. We're going to get a new Hawkeye, potentially. Yay! Like, we're definitely getting a new Captain America because of the way Endgame ended, but it's not just another Captain America movie where we're starting all over and we have to see everything happen again, which I appreciate.
Which is like the Spider-Verse thing where it's like, and again,
And
for the
again.
10th time, we're
And
redoing this.
Might be happening again. Fingers crossed that they all get their shit together. And
that's what I was going to say, like, we're recording this not the day it's coming out, so, like, God only knows what Spider-Man knew. You know what I mean? I feel like even in the past 2 days, there's been, like, everything you thought was happening with Sony and Disney is not anymore. So, like...
Yes. I like to think that
I just want them to fix it. I don't know. Maybe they will have by the time this comes out.
Yeah,
I have
would
no
love
idea.
for that to be the case because I really don't want another Spider-Man movie if they're not going to do Miles Morales. Do not give me another...
Right.
I don't want to start over with Peter Parker for the 6,000th time.
No.
Uncle Ben doesn't need to keep dying.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad they didn't do that when they introduced him into the MCU.
I know.
But
like, we don't need that scene again.
like, we could move on if they do take it back. If they can't come to an agreement. Just start over with a different Spider-Man.
Because there are a ton. There's plenty.
There's... I curse a lot, guys. There are a shit ton of Spider-Mans. And if you feel that you really need to touch this character again, you could literally do any storyline that is not just Peter Parker.
Is Peter B. Parker a real, like, a comic character, or is it just Spider-Verse?
They're all based off of...
Okay. It's so... That character is so great. I was like, I don't know if they just made this up for this movie. I love it.
He's so great because it's literally everyone ages 25 to 34.
Yeah.
That's literally...
That's us.
You're like, I go to work, I hate my job sometimes, even if I am Spider-Man.
I'm squishier than I thought I would be in the alternate universe.
It was so relatable because you're like, oh, this is just me in a spider suit.
Yeah.
Even with the burger. Like,
and
that's what...
I feel like I'm sure every generation, but our generation is very much like, oh, all the fairy tales that we were told about aren't real, and oh, all the problems that we thought we'd never have are still here. Great.
So, like, even if we just got an adult Peter Parker, like, fine, we don't need to start over.
Yeah.
He does not need to be going to high school all over again. Please get him out of high school.
Yeah.
We could start when he's in college.
Spider-Man grow
or we can
up.
start when he's like, we already know who MJ is. We know the set core of characters. So we don't need to do a origin story that hard. And we can just introduce him that way, give him some real world issues, and throw in a villain.
And, like... basically no other characters got an origin story. I mean, some of them did, but it's like, we're just throwing characters into movies. We can do that with Spider-Man too.
That's another thing. I want Sony and Marvel to all stop origin movies. That formula no longer works. It worked for the first couple of movies because we didn't think Iron Man was going to give us the next 20-so movies. Yeah. So, like, that's great. Fine. Who is Iron Man? Iron Man is Tony Stark. Tony Stark is this type of person. Great. Who is Captain America? Captain America, Steve Rogers, Boy from Brooklyn, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't need to keep starting over. It only worked for those two characters. Yeah. Because they were foundation characters. But Black Widow did not get an origin, and that is fine. And the movie we're getting from her now is still not going that far back. Cool. It's literally just like, you know who I am because of all the snippets from the last couple of movies. But
you can piece together people's...
Yeah. Like, her movie starts somewhere... before Endgame, obviously, and around Civil War. So it's like, what the hell were y'all doing? Well, this is what she was doing. Can't account for everybody else, but they do explain it, and that's great. And her story can lead to us getting another version of the Black Widow. So this is... like, there are so many ways to introduce characters that don't start with a strictly, I was born, and I was kidnapped, and at the end of this, I'll be the superhero you know from the poster. Stop doing that. Like... I love the way they introduced Black Panther. Came in and kicked ass. He had his movie. We get... you didn't know anything. I mean, they sort of explain in the movie, like, the traditions and stuff, but you don't need a... We don't and then I was born, and then I... These... Because we all know they're based off of comics and all this other stuff. We don't need to start over anymore. Like, make people go out and read if they are able to. I understand buying comics. Shit is expensive. Yeah. But you can go to your library and read the stuff. Graphic novels are everywhere.
I mean, this obviously isn't the same, but if you just want to know, you can just, like, read recaps of who characters are. Obviously, not recommending that over, like, the actual stories. But if you just want to know,
it's time consuming. So if you just need to go and tell me the name, their alias, where they're from, what
basic plot points,
that is super fun. Like, you can literally drop a comment anywhere and somebody will be like, oh, that's my favorite character. This is everything about them.
That's how I learned a lot of things. Yeah. Just being at Comic-Con and being like, oh, you love Silk? Explain who this character is to me, because I don't know. And then if I love it, I go read it.
And exactly. And also comics are hard because even within the comic universe alone, separating it from the cinematic one, there are thousands of arcs. So if you're like, I just want to read this comic by this character, everyone's going to look at you like you're crazy because that one character has like 6 different storylines. So they're like, which one do you want? And you're like, I don't know. Don't do this to me. So like,
honestly, Instagram has been great for that. And this is like a perfect time to say, if you're willing, like, share your social. People can ask you, because I have friends where I'm like, okay, I want to read Batgirl. Like, what do I read? And they'll give me the chunk. So I feel like for Marvel, you can do that for people if you want.
I can try. I'm only going to be good for my favorite characters, which are Deadpool, my murder husband, Deadpool, the Punisher, Frank Castle. I love the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes.
Yeah. Listen,
Black Panthers. Specifically, though, Christopher Priest and Brian Selfreed, because I love the artwork and their writing style. And non-Marvel things, Preacher. I'm here for all Preacher conversations.
Yeah, cool.
Clearly, I have a let's kill everybody and the world is ending mindset. But, like, come and talk to me about these. And if it's a character I don't know, I'm going to send you to a friend who does.
I was going to say, we can find someone.
Enough of us in our geeky circles. We'll definitely send you somewhere else. And you can find me at Geeky and Creepy, all spelled out one word. And it is my social across the board for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah, and we'll link in the show notes to that too. But yeah, don't ask me any questions. I just sent everyone to Chavon for all Marvel things.
Awesome. So I don't know who that is. So I'm going to send you a message.
I'm gonna go somewhere else. But that's like the great thing about, I mean, any geeky networks. Like, I obviously know mine more than other ones, but it's great when you have all the minds together and you're like, I don't know Batman, but I know someone that does. I don't know Runaways or whatever thing. It's like, but I can let you know who it's their favorite thing in the world, and they'll be. I mean, I just did this week. Someone asked for geeky tattoos in New York, and I was like, nope. But I know the person who would know all the places.
Yes, you can't tell because you're just hearing my voice, but I am heavily tattooed, and 90% of them are geeky tattoos.
Yeah.
So if you also need that, you can drop a line, and I'll send you to some tattoo artists. But like, literally, just go into a tattoo shop and ask questions.
Yeah, that's true too.
Just be like, can you draw this? I want them to look like this. I like these colors. Like, that helps.
Yeah. Or like, if you have a friend who has a lot of tattoos, generally they'll have some idea of like who can do what and where, which is cool.
But Marvel is a lot. It is a heavy fandom to get into because it's within it there are sub-fandoms. Just the comics, just the TV shows. They have their own podcast. They have their own, like, radio show. Which have nothing to do with anything else. So if you want to jump on if you love listening to podcasts and, like, just listening to a radio show that has...
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I totally forgot about that whole world.
Definitely do that. But once again, it's literally just taking basic characters like Wolverine, and telling their stories in different ways and giving you different plot points. But it won't tie back into anything. Because if you watched X-Men, you're like, why aren't they fighting with the Avengers? Because they're owned by different companies.
Right. Again, if you know the behind the scenes, you know why, but
now they're all owned by one, so...
we'll see what happens. We'll have another podcast talking about that when that happens.
There are so many ways to, like, delve into things about Marvel that have nothing to do with the movies if you don't enjoy movies, or nothing to do with the comics if you don't feel like sitting and reading.
Yeah.
So, like, find the thing and go for it, or find the character that you resonate with, and, like, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have a shit show trying to, like, find the one arc that is, like, more your thing. But there's a ton of content out there.
Yeah.
So you'll find something.
Yay! Thanks so much for chatting about Marvel. I always learn a lot, because, again, I don't know much. So, thank God for the movies. That's helping me a lot.
So many. And I'm sure this will have to be a thing where it gets updated.
I was going to say, we'll just have a recurring, like every phase we'll have a
Marvel update.
Just a recap.
69, 40 years from now.
Yep. I am sure that's going to happen, which is awesome. Yay! Thanks so much for chatting. And follow Chavon at Geeky and Creepy if you want Marvel content and geeky tattoo content and all kinds of nerdy content. It's great. Thanks for listening. Check out our Patreon if you want some cool rewards, and follow us at Sartorial Geek, and we'll Talk to you next week. Stay nerdy. Bye.